I was still 14. My trainer Steve kind of suggested a few, oh, would you be interested in competing? And so yeah, and obviously I had like an inter-club. I started fighting adults, which I suppose is semi-pro. It's a bit awkward trying to explain professional, semi-professional with Muay Thai, but I was 16. I started fighting adults at that age.
Damien Trainor is a two-time Muay Thai world champion from the UK. Trainor is now co-owner of K-Star Legacy Gym in Birmingham and is a much sought-after striking coach from elite fighters in the UFC, Bellator and the world of kickboxing and Muay Thai. This video is part one of a documentary series on Damien Trainor. Support K1 via Patreon from £1 a month to produce more films about kickboxing and Muay Thai fighters. And subscribe to K1 on YouTube.
Hadouken!
The gym that I kind of started training at was literally just down the road from my school, so I'd pass it quite frequently on the bus, getting to and from school. I remember they used to have like a real bright neon yellow sign, so you couldn't miss it as you went past. A couple of the lads from my class, they started training, suggested I should come along and have a look at it. So obviously I went down, liked what I saw, and then obviously I've just been training ever since.
Some people seem to think some people come in and they're just naturally amazing, and I can't really remember his first lesson, so he didn't stand out that way. But what it is with Damien, he obviously has got a lot of natural talent and ability, but his main thing is that he just really works hard at something. If you show Damien something, you'd see him after the lesson, he could be going over everything, some people in a bit of rush, whereas Damien would spend the time to learn all the basics and go over it and over it and over it. And I think that's his main thing. His natural ability is obviously there, but it's the way he applies himself to something, and he'll stick at it until he gets it right. And he's quite obviously got that determination that way.
Back to your stance, and again.
Obviously now you had your own K-Star Legacy Gym, so Steve Logan and the K-Star brand had quite a reach and influence in the Birmingham martial arts community.
For Thai boxing or Muay Thai, it was obviously the main club. There were some other clubs that were like doing okay, but for a big club that was being successful, K-Star was the main one. I think if you look now, any of the clubs in the Birmingham area that are doing well, they've got ties or branches coming from K-Star originally.
Who coached Logan then?
I know he trained quite a bit with Tony Moore. I don't know if you've heard of Tony Moore. I think he was like originally from Master Sken, then obviously kind of went to Thailand himself, and obviously he kind of become quite affiliated with those. There's quite a few like top trainers that have come from Tony Moore, like Andy Newell was originally from Tony Moore. If you kind of look at anything in the UK, it either stems from Master Sken or Master Toddy. Yeah. And obviously, again, everyone's got branches going towards them. So I suppose if you looked at our branch, you'd probably go to Tony Moore, to Master Sken. I was still 14. My trainer Steve kind of suggested a few, oh, would you be interested in competing? And so yeah, and obviously I had like an inter-club, kind of like sparring in the ring, because no winners or losers, it's light contact, just to kind of get used to the feel of the ring. I had my first one at 6 weeks training. There, I just thought I'd have a go, see how I got on. Didn't do too bad. 6 months after that, I had like a proper fight where I had like head guard, shin pads, and he just kind of went for it, kind of thing.
How old were you at the time when you had the 6 month?
14 or 15 at the time. I wasn't nervous, I didn't really know what I was letting myself in for. Fought a lad that weighed a bit heavier, he's more experienced than me. My trainer had obviously confidence, obviously I won that one.
Damien would fight his walk around weight. Whatever he was walking around at, that's what he's fighting at. And sometimes he'd be fighting above that because there was no one there, so he wanted to fight. So he'd fight someone a little bit heavier than him, as did other people, give away different weights and stuff like that. So it was a lot different now. Then it's much more professional now, but more fun back then.
My second fight after that, I was nervous because it was on like a proper show. I was a bit worried, but then when it comes to actually getting in the ring, I was fine. And it was actually Andy Newell. Me and Andy had fought when we were kids, and we got a draw. We both put each other down, so it's quite a crazy fight.
Yeah, quite some memories, aren't they? Seriously, in your childhood. Yeah. How old were you when it became semi-professional, it's fair to say?
As I was going on, I felt like, I'm not doing too bad at this, I wouldn't mind a title, so I thought, I'll be Midland champion. And as it got close to where that looked like it'd be a possibility, I kind of thought, it's too small, I'll British champion. And obviously as a schoolboy, I won the Midland area English and British titles.
So Damien won an area schoolboy champion, English schoolboy champion, British schoolboy champion. And what I did, I made him defend each title, because I said what I was trying to get across to him: when he becomes a world champion, he might not be bothered about this area title, but when he becomes world champion, you don't want to lose it. It's a different pressure when you're defending it.
I started fighting adults, which I suppose is semi-pro. It's a bit awkward trying to explain professional, semi-professional with Muay Thai, but I was 16. I started fighting adults at that age.
It probably sounds bad, but it's not just like I got a kid out of school and chucked him in. Damien had probably 20 odd fights by then already, and he was going against an adult who'd had less than 20 fights, maybe 3 or 4 fights. And it was just, well, he won anyway, so he was careful matching, and I did the right thing. But we did that all the way through, and as you say, back then, it was a lot more relaxed. Like now, everyone's very concerned about all the minor details, where then everyone would have a fight.
The lad that fought when I was 16, I think he was 25 or 26, I think. I stopped him in the second round.
Quite a brave achievement to fight someone almost 10 years older than you, a fully grown man. What was going through your mind?
I was just confident in my ability, and I was quite good. I was relatively strong, like for the age. So like again, my coach was confident I'd be all right, and obviously luckily I was. I fought some really hard people as a junior. Obviously, like I fought Andy Newell. There's another lad that I fought that was his name was Craig Biffle. He was doing quite well. Me and Kieran actually fought as a kid, so like we had it's a good pedigree coming through.
Which Kieran as well?
Kieran Kedall.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. He's taller than you.
Yeah, I'm the only one that stayed the same size. Everyone that I fought was growing up from that time. When I was younger, I was quite good at art. I wanted to draw comic books, so I went to art college. But as I was getting better at the fighting, I was kind of taking a bit of a back burner, and I was concentrating more on the training for the fights, because while I was at college, I'd fought for the adult English title and then like the adult British title, and I was having my first international fights when I was 17, so it was just that kind of took a sidestep, and the fighting career kind of got pushed forwards a bit more.
What type of comics were you into?
I don't know, I was like superhero type thing. I'm quite geeky, so at the time I just wanted to, if you kind of sit back at it, it's because I was quite quiet, quite mellow, so it's kind of escapism. But then I think the fighting gave me another avenue for that escapism to get on like a big stage.